Ryder Cup update presented by Grand Wagoneer. And let's flash back to last year, one of the best finishes of the season. We will not forget this. Max Homa attempting to defend his title, stealing a win from Danny Willett on the 72nd hole. Chips in for birdie while Willett looks on. He had a one-shot lead, ended up three-putting from 4 feet away, and Homa wins by a stroke, one of 2 wins for Homa last season as he prepares this year for his first Ryder Cup. So Homa back to defend his title again, attempting to become the first player since Steve Stricker won the John Deere Classic from 2009 to 2011 to win the same PGA Tour event 3 straight years in a row. Justin Thomas in the field before the Ryder Cup, as are US captain Zach Johnson and vice captain Stuart Sink. So for more, let's send it down to Kira K. Dixon, who drew the tough assignment this week in Napa. And Kira, welcome in. I know you got a little bit more on JT this week.
Yes, I know. My life is very difficult, Anna. I have to stand here in beautiful Napa Valley. And someone who gets to do that this week as well is, as you mentioned, Justin Thomas. He is coming here straight from Rome, where he was on a scouting trip with the Ryder Cup team, getting to take a look at Marco Simone and how the team felt all being together. But I asked him earlier today about his motivation to compete here in Napa. Last time he was here was back in 2020, where he finished top 5, and also to describe his current coaching relationship with his father, Mike Thomas, and parting ways with longtime putting coach John Graham.
Yeah, I first off, I love this tournament. I really like this golf course. It just hasn't necessarily fit schedule-wise in the past couple years, and due to my season ending a little earlier than I would have liked last year, I wanted to play something, whether I was on the Ryder Cup or not. You know, I think a lot of us golfers say we want an off season and then we have a month off and we get a little stir crazy. And this is a good opportunity for me to come play. So I'm excited to be here and you know, to play a good tournament and a great golf course.
Speaking of that season ending early, I know that you've been dealing with some struggles that maybe you haven't been dealing with in the past. There's been some conversation around the exact approach that you're taking to your game right now, who you're working with. I know you parted ways with John Graham, your longtime putting coach. Can you explain exactly what the status is with working with your dad, not working with your dad, and things of that nature? Yeah,
some things definitely got taken out of context. But yeah, I mean, John and I had a great run and also a great conversation in terms of how it all ended. It just was, you know, it's basically like I told him, at some point he can't go out there and make the putts for me. You know, I felt like we were doing everything we needed to. I just needed to get a little bit better at holing putts, and that's only something I can do myself. And in terms of with my dad, no, everything is great. It's just more me taking accountability. You know, my best couple years on tour, or when he was still, you know, he was still working in Louisville, he was still head pro. He'd come to the majors, maybe a handful of tournaments here and there, but I've always been really good at adjusting and adapting to what I'm either feeling or seeing, and able to make those changes mid-round. And I feel like I've kind of lost that. You know, I think I've had and have a great team around me that is willing to be there all the time, but for me, I think it's best that I take a little bit of ownership and I kind of figure some stuff out myself. And so it's more of just, I mean, hopefully everything's going great and I'm able to just kind of continue to do what I'm doing, but I'll always have him. And in the sense of, you know, just like I was growing up, I sent him a video. I have a pretty good idea what I see before he sees it. We have a very similar eye, and just about going out and playing golf and not golf swing, and just play and shoot the best I can.
Was there any sort of inflection point that led you to these realizations of taking more ownership?
Yeah, we kind of had it a couple times last year in the middle of the year. It was kind of like, I'd say late spring. I just noticed, you know, I became way too dependent on them, in the sense of, you know, something would happen, I'd turn around like, what is it? And it's like, you know, I know what's going on here, and I need to know and figure it out myself. And like I said, that's something I've really taken pride in myself is, I mean, I've won golf tournaments in the past without my best stuff, but that's because I've been able to figure it out. And I just felt like I lost that a little bit because of the amount of, I don't want to say obviously a lot of trust, but the amount that I depended on everybody that was there all the time. So it just was, those last 2 weeks in the season I think were big for me, and Wyndham especially was, I had some times and some days where things didn't feel great, whether it was putting or on the range, and I'd take some video and I just figure it out. And that's what I did as a kid. It's what I did in college, and what I feel like has gotten me to where I am. So I need to find that happy medium again, and I feel like I'm on that right track.
Okay, well, speaking of the right track, one last thing on the Ryder Cup. There was some feedback about in 2018 with Le Golf National, no really meaningful scouting trip to speak of. This year is completely different. You guys all just went, or most of the team went to Marco Simone. What was it like having the team mostly all come together and have that experience in Italy?
It was great. It was great. It was huge. I mean, I told, the guys that haven't been a part of Ryder Cups or team events, it's just like that makes the week so much easier because it is such a busy week and it goes by so fast, and especially the practice days, we have to play between these slots. We have team pictures here, we have press conference there, we have, it takes a long time to get to the golf course, and you just have a lot of things going on, so it definitely helps. I'm definitely good on bread and cheese for this week after a couple days in Rome, but we had such a great time, a lot of laughs, and some mediocre golf coming off of a long flight, but it was good to see it.
Well, someone who was on that trip to Rome as well was Max Homa, defending champion here this week at the Fortinet Championship. Now, if we flash back to last year on the 72nd hole when Max Homa stepped up to that tee, it looked like Danny Willett really had this tournament in hand. But by the end of the day, Max was able to flip the script and walk away victorious. I spoke with him earlier today about what that experience was like.
Very crazy. I was with Lacey. All of a sudden I get a tap on the back and she's on the green, and I looked at her and I thought to say, get off the green. Like, we have to go to a playoff or something. It all happened so quickly, but obviously very fortunate. But it was fun. It's one of those things I don't think I'll ever fully process. But it was fun. Joe had told me before I had the chip, he said, just make him win, make him earn it, make him beat us. And fortunately I, got lucky, knocked it in, and then chaos ensued, but I was very happy to come out on the right side of that one.
So a win here used to mean setting up your season and getting a head start with the FedEx Cup points. Now a win here would mean something kind of different in the FedEx Cup fall. Can you kind of put into context what a win here now means? Yeah,
obviously there's a lot of guys here. They're going to first off try and finish in the 125. People are trying to get into the first two signature events, so it's got a different dynamic. For myself, I can't improve my position, but I can go shake Steve Sugar's hand in 2 weeks and let him know that we were the last two people to win 3 in a row. So that's kind of my goal. So it's a bit different, but I do think this fall now, in my opinion, gets more exciting. I think there's a lot more. It's easier to understand what a win does. It's just a continuation of last season. So a lot of people here are obviously looking to confirm that they will have starts next year and then hopefully get to play in the first couple signature events. So I think it's quite exciting.
And speaking of goals, one of them for you for a very long time has been to be on the Ryder Cup team. Of course, you've had your experience with the President's Cup. You just got back from a scouting trip in Rome. What are your takeaways from getting to be with most of the team at Marco Simone?
It was absolutely awesome. I found it so fun at the President's Cup just to be around the best Americans and just get to pick their brain and just be around them and see what they do. We laughed more than I can remember laughing at a couple golf days these last couple in Rome. I feel like the team is really tight knit. I feel like everybody really enjoyed being around each other. I feel like everyone was so excited, and I don't know, I just really love this team. I feel like everybody was kind of on the same page. The golf course is going to be a bear to walk, but other than that, it's going to be one of the hopefully the coolest week we ever had. Hopefully get the monkey off our back and stop this 30-year drought we've had over there. So, but it was a great start. It was cool that we got to go over there and kind of see what we're going to get into.
So you heard Max Homa mention the FedEx Cup fall. The Fortinet Championship used to really serve as a season opener to the following season on the PGA Tour, but that identity has very much changed. Now players are here fighting for their status for next year, trying to get into signature events, so a lot on the line in Napa, Anna.